I realize that when people watch these afterwards, there's always that, like, you know, first like 5 or 10 minute awkward period where during when the stream is live, we're like letting people know, like, hey guys, like, uh, 5 or 10 minute awkward period where during, oh boy, like I was just listening to myself there for a second. Yeah, but there's an awkward period where we're just listening to nothing, or you guys are just watching nothing until, people start to funnel in on the live stream and then things begin. So this is for everybody that is tuning in after the live stream. Welcome to Money Shift in the evening. This is the evening show that we use to record the podcast as well, which is available live on all of your favorite platforms. Hold on one sec. I just have to edit the name here. Hello, friends. Come join and let's talk cars. Okay. Yeah, so this is the news for March the 16th, the week of March the 16th. So for those of you that tune into the Money Shift in the Morning show, which for those of you that aren't aware is the show that we put on in the mornings except Tuesday and Sunday, there might be some repetition here as this is also what is going to be used for the podcast, but we do have some new stuff too. So if I'm looking at the topics today, there's one thing that is a replay from the Money Shift in the Morning shows. Everything else is new. So not too much. If you guys watch the morning show, you'll definitely still find a lot of value about this. And it's a new audience. It's a new group of people. Come hang out. You know what I mean? I think the light is better on. Yes. You guys might see a little bit of a ring when we do this, but I think that's okay. I think the ring is okay. So what do we got going on today? Well, today we have one car that was spied for the first time, one horrible teaser image, we have a new electric car, we have a modern facelift, and we have a brand that announced their new ethos for machines going forward. Now, I couldn't be excited for all of this because I think every single piece of news today is relevant both to me, as they're all cars that I'm interested in, but then also that last one that talks about the brand making a shift. Whew! Praise be, they must be listening to Money Shift because god damn it, we talk about that shit every week. Okay, so let me hit the record button on the podcast and then we will get going. I'm unsure why I all of a sudden started to mute, but anyway, that was weird. Let me know for those of you that are watching if you can still hear me. I'm pretty sure you can. Okay, perfect. All right, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Money Shift Podcast. I am Thanasi, and today we have a good bit of car news for you, as per usual. We're going to start off with some renders. We're going to make our way to some new cars. So without further ado, let's talk about the Phaeton. For those of you that don't know that are watching the live stream, I'm going to put a picture up of the machine that I'm talking about. But if you guys are new to the stream, I currently daily drive a Phaeton. Shout out to mcolt81 with the follow on Twitch. What is going on, my man? Welcome to the Money Shift Podcast, where we talk about car news every single day. Literally car news all the time. Okay, so this image is absolutely massive, but we're going to work our way to minimize this here. Okay. Here we go. This is the current daily driver of the moment for me. This is a 2005 Volkswagen Phaeton. This is a 4.2-liter V8, and this car is currently up for sale. So the reason why it is up for sale is, if you guys know me, I have car ADD big time. Okay, I don't have fuck you Jay Leno money, so because of that, I like to buy cars that I have a lot of interest in at a depreciation curve, get out of them for little to no loss, sometimes even a gain. Actually, usually it's no loss or a gain, and move on to the next one. This car has served me well. I've had it for 8 months. I've put almost 8,000 miles on it, maybe actually more than that at this point. I truly love it. It's starting to develop some minor issues that are of no fault of the car's own, but rather the streets it's been driven on. The front right wheel was knocked out of alignment, so the car needs an alignment and tires. But other than that, I've owned it for 8 months, 8,000 miles, 0 issues. I freaking adore this thing. Like, I think the Volkswagen Phaeton gets a really bad rap because people just don't understand how to fix it, right? If you think about cars like the S-Class or the Jag XJ or, any 7 Series, something like that, right? Those cars don't get a bad rap, even though they have just as much, if not more in some cases, technology than cars like this Phaeton. But the reason why the Phaeton gets a bad rap, okay, I think I've solved this, is because the person that bought the car originally, right, they paid $80,000 for a Volkswagen sedan that had tons of features. Like, I'm talking tons of features, okay? We're talking in-car dehumidifier. We're talking air vents that mimic central AC. We're talking advanced cruise control, premium audio, like actually premium audio. Okay, and we're talking about all of this in 2005. So those people paid $80,000 for that car. They made the jump. They said, "Fuck brands. We don't care. We just want to get the best car," and they bought this. Okay. Fast forward 5 years, we're 2010. They sell that car. Because it's a Volkswagen, they eat depreciation. And I mean eat depreciation, okay? To the tune of probably losing 50% or more of the original value, okay? So now the second owner is buying this car for around $30,000 or less in 2010. Okay, work with me here, Cole. Work with me, okay? That second owner buys that car. That second owner doesn't have the pockets that the $80,000 gentleman had, or woman, or person, okay? And because of that, they cut corners. They bring the car to their local body shop that might not be an expert in something like this. They bring their car to a Meineke or something like that, right? Like a CAN bus, like a regular standard place. And what happens is that person treats this car like they would a Jetta, like they would a Passat. And because of that, they fuck something up, right? Maybe they fix a ball joint, but they don't realize that they had to change, I don't know, like put the car in a specific mode in order to work on that. And because they did that, they damaged something else, which damaged something else, right? And now the car gets a bad rap for being expensive to repair. But if they had just brought the car to someone that knew what they were doing in the beginning, it wouldn't actually be that expensive to maintain. And now we have the issue. Right? The Volkswagen Phaeton, now you can get it for under $10,000 handily. I'm selling this one for $6,000. Okay? This is a car with 86,000 miles, just got the timing done, just got the water pump done, and the second battery. You know how much that service costs? $6,000. So the price that I'm selling this car for equals the service that was just done by a Phaeton certified tech. Car's nuts bulletproof. Nuts bulletproof. Driveline. Does it have some electrical issues and gremlins that pop up? Sure. And I'll tell you what they are right now. The sensors in there, TPMS sensors, they're battery powered. And the battery ran out. So the TPMS light is on. Is there anything wrong with the car? No. Nothing at all. Literally nothing. It runs and drives perfectly fine. But because the TPMS battery ran out, the sensor light shows. Right? So it's things like that, but you have to know that it's nothing wrong with the car itself. It's just that the TPMS sensors are battery powered, so that's what you have to switch, right? So the car gets a bad rap. I've always idolized these things because of the amount of technology they packed when they came out and the price you could get them for now. Like, I'm talking about multiple Phaetons are available for sub $10,000. You're likely going to have the only one anywhere. And if you find someone that knows these cars, and there are Phaeton certified techs out there, guys, buy with confidence. Okay. I love this car. What comes next? Who knows? And if you guys have watched this stream for more than a month, you know that it truly could be anything. For those that haven't, here's a quick little history of the last couple cars I've owned. So before this, it was a 2019 Civic Type R. Before that, it was a 2019 Genesis G70 with a stick shift. Before that, it was a Mazda Miata. Before that, it was a 911. So I'm all over the place car-wise. So next could be a Ford Ranger. Or it could be like a Veloster N. Who the fuck knows? But if anybody's interested in this, feel free to DM me. But that's just my big plug for the Phaeton. I love these things. I love this guy right here. And if I could own one again in the future, I certainly would. It is an unbelievable cruiser. You want to talk about a car that feels at home on the highway at 80 miles an hour? It's this thing. You can go 80, 90, all day long. You don't feel anything. You don't hear anything. It's a tremendous machine. Okay is right, Colt. Okay is right. This is the car for you. Okay, moving on from the Phaeton, let's actually get into some new car news. So this week around Ann Arbor, Michigan, the Subaru WRX was spied. And it was actually being trailed by a Tesla Model 3, which I'm going to just say is coincidence. I don't think that Subaru's benchmarking the WRX against the Tesla Model 3, but they were spied next to each other, so I do have to note it. Okay, so what are some things that we see with the new WRX, and what are some details that we know are going to come out in the 2022 WRX? Well, for one, there's new headlights, new taillights. They're more narrow, more jagged. The greenhouse still looks terrific. If you have a chance to drive a 2015 or newer WRX or STI, you'll note that they have incredible visibility in spite of modern safety regulations, right? A lot of people use the safety regulations as sort of a crutch for why a car has bad visibility, but cars like this show you that that is not the case. It's just that the brand chose to go that direction. You can still have the safety, you can still have all of that with a massive greenhouse. I mean, look at all that glass there, right? That is great to have, especially in a performance car. And my favorite part about the WRX, especially the 15 Plus has it, and you can see it in this one too, is look in front of the mirrors, the side view mirrors. There's a little square of glass there, right? That's huge because that vantage point that it gives you in the car, terrific, terrific. So what else do we know about the Subaru WRX from 2022? Well, for one, we know it's going to be debuting later this year. It was supposed to debut last year, but shout out to COVID, it got delayed, but it is certainly coming this year. The engine is reportedly the FA24 out of the Subaru Ascent and Subaru Outback. In those cars, okay, the FA24 has 260 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. And if you follow Naziok or any of the Subaru tuning forums, you know that that FA24 is immensely capable, like really capable. In fact, let's see. Let me quick Google Subaru Ascent tune, and let's see what that horsepower is. Hold on. Tune. Yeah, okay. So Cobb offers Subaru Ascent tuning, and if we click in, we'll see quickly what the horsepower number is that they can give. If John Raftery is in the chat, I'm sure he can tell you. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so stage 1 gets you an extra 8% horsepower and 21% horsepower and 21% pound-feet of torque increase just with a tune. Not bad. Okay. And that's on a Subaru Ascent. Never mind something like a WRX. Okay. So as we keep going down the pipeline in terms of rumor mill, it's rumored that the STI variant of this is going to have north of 400 horsepower. So there is a non-zero chance that we're talking about 290 to 300 horsepower with the modern WRX, and the FA24 is capable of doing that and capable of doing that reliably. So this is coming this year, and it is pretty new. Even though it looks like it's going to be a facelifted car, there is going to be a lot of new things here, and I'm very much so looking forward to it. I was an owner of the 2015 WRX, and I really, really enjoyed that car. It was a great commuter. It got fantastic gas mileage, handled immensely well in the winter, and was just an overall fun car to drive, and this looks to be following in that footstep. So I'm super, super jazzed to see what this looks like. Well, the next piece of news actually also comes from Subaru. Subaru today released this image. Shout out to Santana Nicole with the like on Facebook. Thank you. Thank you for chiming in. And for those of you watching, feel free to like the stream. Does help us immensely. And if you're watching on Twitch, shoot and hit that follow button just like Colt did. Okay. So if you saw this image today, you will have seen the new Subaru that is going to be debuting. Do you guys see it? Can anybody see it right now? Does anybody see it? Because damn you, Subaru, this was hard. So let me actually make this photo bigger, and I can show you guys where it is. Do you see it right here? Right in the middle of your screen? There it is. Colt sees it. Do you know what that is? This is a preview of Subaru's new Wilderness line. And I know what you're thinking, guys. Yikes on that name. Big yikes, Wilderness. But what it is think about, you know how Chevrolet has the ZR2 or Z71, and how Toyota has a TRD line, and how GMC has the AT4 line, and how Ford has the Raptor, right? Like all of these brands have off-roady type packages. This is exactly what it is for Subaru. And if you look at this image closely enough, I urge you guys, just check it out. If you go to Google and search Subaru Wilderness, you'll see what I'm talking about. But it clearly is a Subaru Outback. Clearly. And if we've also seen some of the Subaru Wilderness Outbacks that have been previewed, like we've seen some test mules of this car. I'll try to pull up an image of this quickly just to show you guys. But you'll note that it's effectively like a soft-core version of a TRD Pro. So the TRD Pro for Toyota is like different suspension, skid plates, snorkels, all that shit. And what it's going to be for the Subaru Outback, which is going to be the first car to get that Wilderness name, is a lift in suspension and just a little beefier. So it's going to be cool, right? Don't get me wrong. Let me show you a quick picture of this thing. It's definitely dope. There's no doubt about it. I mean, a lifted Outback is going to be really cool. But, yeah, here you go, guys. This is the Outback that was spied. This guy right here. And this is a preview of the Wilderness Outback, right? So you're looking at something that's lifted. You're looking at something that's probably a little wider than a current Outback. You're looking at something that probably has that 2.4-liter engine that we talked about just now in the WRX. Gonna be pretty cool, right? There's no reason why Subaru shouldn't hone in on that overlandy market with something like the Outback that has all the intangibles to make for a really good overland machine. Has the space, has the engine, has the off-road capability. Why not, right? Why not ease into that? Models that'll come after this, there's going to be a Forester Wilderness package as well. And who knows, maybe they'll even extend that line to the WRX or Impreza lineup at some point. That would be really cool if they could really incorporate that in something that has a little more speed. I don't see why they wouldn't have something like an XV Crosstrek Wilderness, but for right now, it's just going to be isolated to the Outback line, and that image was previewed, or that car was previewed with this image. So I'm pretty excited over it. Colt seems pretty excited too, so right on, dude. I totally agree. I'm with you. So moving on to some Kia news. There's two new Kia cars that came out this week. This was the first one. This is the Kia EV6, and this is Kia's first ground-up EV. So this is based on the same platform as the Ioniq 5, but the looks are very unique and they're very, very Kia. I adore the looks of this car. Kia calls this styling Digital Tiger, which is a name that makes me want to throw up all over this microphone. But I will say this car is damn good looking. I think looks like nothing else on the market. I think for an electric vehicle, it stands out without being too offensive. Sure, there's sprinkles of Volkswagen ID in the front, but you look at the inside, you look at the rear, you look at the side, it is all Kia for sure. Now, when it comes to details, because it's going to be sharing a similar platform with the Ioniq 5, we have a pretty good understanding of what's going to be powering this machine. So you'll be able to get it in two battery pack configurations, one being a 58 kilowatt hour battery pack and two being a bigger 72.6 kilowatt hour battery pack. You'll be able to get it in all-wheel drive, so dual motor, or rear-wheel drive. And that's with both battery packs. In the 58, the two-wheel drive version has 125 kilowatts of power, 350 newton meters of torque, does 0 to 60 in 8.5 seconds. The all-wheel drive version has 170 kilowatts, 605 Newton meters of torque, does 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds. Not bad for the small battery, 6.1 seconds in all-wheel drive form. But with the bigger battery, things get better, right? We're talking about 5.2 seconds to 60 in all-wheel drive form and 7.4 seconds to 60 in rear-wheel drive form. This thing will have a range of around 200 to 300 miles depending on battery and drivetrain. And when you're looking at the size of this thing, in order to really get an accurate representation of how big of a vehicle you're looking at, picture sort of a Toyota RAV4. That's roughly around the size of what this thing is going to look like. So it's definitely not a small hatchback, but it's also not some big hunkin' SUV, right? It's somewhere in between there. So this isn't like a Kia Niro, Hyundai Kona type thing, but it's also not a Highlander either, right? I'm a really big fan of this all around. I'm a massive fan of the Ioniq 5. I'm a huge fan of the Kia EV6. I just think the Hyundai Kia group is nailing cars right now, nailing it. And I know I shout that from the rooftops pretty much every week, but I feel like I got to keep reminding everybody because y'all are sleeping on Hyundai and Kia, and you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. They make good machines. They really, really do. Speaking of good machines from Hyundai and Kia, we got to talk about the refreshed Kia Stinger that also just dropped today. So Kia gave the Stinger a really big refresh, and the majority of the refresh is in here. Okay, we're talking about a massive 10-inch touchscreen. We're talking about Nappa leather. We're talking about better fit and finish. We're talking about minor improvements to the interior to give it an overall premium feel. When we move to the outside, things change less, right? If I had a 2020 Kia Stinger next to this Kia Stinger, you'd be hard-pressed to tell the differences. Now, you can see them, right? Look at the taillight. Look at the headlight. You can see the differences, but you also can't, deny the fact that they're relatively pedestrian, right? The only difference really major on the outside is this. This is the Scorpion model, which is an exclusive trim level that has a rear spoiler, blacked out fender garnish, side mirror caps, exhaust tips, different wheels, and carbon trim on the inside. So it's like a sporty looking Kia Stinger. But other than that, they look relatively similar to the outgoing model. There was one major change, though, and that was the base engine in the Kia Stinger. In current years and previous years, that base engine was a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that made like roughly 250 horsepower. Not bad, but not that good either. I had a Genesis G70 with that engine with a standard transmission, and it was definitely fun to drive, but it wasn't exciting, right? It didn't throw you back in your seat or anything like that. It got the job done, but it was nothing special, right? So now in this Kia Stinger right here, a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbo is now the base engine. And the horsepower and torque, 300 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque now. That's a good base figure. There's no doubt about it that is an excellent base figure. Now the bigger engine, 3.3 liter twin turbo V6, 368 horsepower, 376 pound-feet of torque. Not really much of a change from current year. But it didn't really need to change because that 3.3 liter twin turbo is a really fast car. Very, very quick machine. So gone is the puny 2.0, in is the 2.5. With the addition of a lot of horsepower, Kia really hopes that they can pry away some folks from BMW and Mercedes and Audi with a car like this, right? Because now, for around, I think the base price, let me double, triple, quadra confirm here. Kia Stinger base price new. Yeah, I believe the Kia Stinger base price for the new model is going to be around $36,000, right? So you're talking about something that has 300 horsepower, is going to be available in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. So that's cheaper than a 3 Series by a good amount, and the 3 Series is going to be a lot slower. So if you're in the camp for an entry-level luxury sedan, does this tick your boxes over something like an Audi A4, BMW 3 Series, Mercedes C-Class? And if it doesn't, I'm curious as to why, because it does for me. If I was in the market, 36 grand gets me a 300 horsepower, really good looking sedan. And that interior, by the way, was standard, right? So that screen comes on all the models. That look, that aesthetic comes on all the models. The only thing that doesn't is Napa leather, only comes on like the higher trims. But the vibe is there, right? The feel is there. And you can get the Scorpion package like that cement gray one, and now you got a really good looking machine. So for me, it does the job, but do you think Kia's done enough to break through that mold and capture some 3 Series and A4 buyers? I still think they have a ways to go there, but I'm hopeful that this is another step in the right direction for the brand. Because if I'm being honest, it deserves it, right? They have the reliability. They still have a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. There's no reason why someone should consider something like a BMW 3 Series over something like this, other than just straight up vanity. There's no reason. You are amazing. Thank you, Colt. I'll take your address in a DM to send you the $10 that I owe you. Thank you. And we're going to finish up today with Lamborghini. Lamborghini has done something that I am just beyond happy about. Like beyond. Okay. So for those of you that are new to the stream, one of the things that we've consistently talked about is how modern cars are too damn fast. And when I say too damn fast, I mean they're too damn fast. When a Porsche 911 Turbo can do 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, that's too damn fast. When a BMW M5 CS can do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, that's too damn fast. And Lamborghini agrees. I'm going to be looking to the left here because I'm going to be reading a statement from Lamborghini, but they are right with us. They are shifting their focus from top speed and acceleration to handling. Okay? Lamborghini says, if you go back 10 years, probably when we were asked the parameters to measure a car with, we would say top speed, acceleration, and then handling. And he's right? If you think about cars 10 years ago, even today to a degree, what we really prioritized were top speed and acceleration, and then we thought about how good the car handled. Think about your Motor Trend reviews. Think about your Car and Driver reviews where they highlighted things like 0 to 60 quarter mile times and top speed before they highlighted things like skid pad, G-force, and things like that, right? Francisco Scardeoni, who's the Asia boss for Lamborghini, continues. He says, then top speed became a secondary measure with acceleration first. He's right. The advent of electric cars, Porsche's pursuing crazy 0 to 60 times, right? There's no doubt that the entire world was focusing on accelerating as fast as they could 0 to 60, which is where cars like Teslas come in, right? So he continues. He says, then top speed became a secondary measure. Acceleration is now more important. Now basically with acceleration, now basically with electrification, acceleration is no more than important, right? Because electrification just makes cars do 0 to 60 like this, no problem if they want to, right? That's evident by cars like the Tesla Model S, okay? Because it's quite easy for those power units to have amazing results. Okay, so he continues to say, and this is where it gets into the core of what we're talking about. What is really now making the difference is the drivability of the car and the handling. Because when you have good acceleration, but the car is heavy to steer, heavy to handle, you cannot have that pleasure of driving in a really fast way. For sure now, handling, in our opinion, is one of the top priorities for a manufacturer, especially a manufacturer like Lamborghini. And for Lamborghini, handling is a crucial key parameter. Handling is the number one top priority. Number one. Let me read that one more time. For Lamborghini, handling is crucial. A key parameter. Handling is a top number one priority. We did it. We did it. Now, is this going to happen overnight? In terms of recreating the analog experience that we enjoy and loved in older cars? Cars that didn't necessarily have the power figures, but you could toss them into a turn You could enjoy them on public roads because they weren't 0 to 60 in 2 seconds? No, it's not going to happen overnight. But brands like Lamborghini making the statement that acceleration and top speed don't fucking matter and handling does is huge. Because to me, what that means is exactly what he said. Handling matters. Handling is the experience. If a car does 0 to 60 in sub 3 seconds, but its steering is heavy and it can't handle because it's a 5,000 pound electric car, it's not going to be as fun to drive. That party trick is going to get old, and it's going to get old fast, right? But if you have a car that can handle, it's not going to be slow, right? Lamborghini's not going to make a car that handles really, really well, but does 0 to 60 in 10 seconds. It's not going to happen. It's probably going to be in the 4s. That's quick. That's really fast. But making that switch and making that focus to handling is going to be, hopefully, a catalyst for others to follow, because then we can bring back this analog feel in a modern environment where we feel that is going away. And that, my friends, is huge. That, my friends, is the key to an automotive future for the enthusiast that loves to drive. And if brands like Lamborghini make this shift, cars like the Huracan, cars like the Aventador, cars like the Urus, cars like the Cyan, whatever comes next for the brand, even if that's all electric, if they're making that shift to handling over power, we win. We win as car enthusiasts. Regardless of what's powering it, we win. Because it means that the experience is going to be one that you enjoy. It means that the experience is going to be one that is memorable and is more than just a party trick. Because the cars will still be fast, but now they'll just be more enjoyable to drive. And that's what we want. That's what we want. I'm stoked. I couldn't be more excited to see how this vision turns into a reality for a brand that I lost some favor with for a brief period of time, but have immediately brought that all back. Lamborghini has punted Ferrari out of my brain and has cemented itself firmly with Porsche in the space of cars that I desire to own at some point. Purely because of one statement, not even because of a car that's on the market. And more people should do the same. More people should certainly do the same. So big shout out to Lamborghini for taking that step. All right. Now let's see if we had... We do not. Perfect. Okay. So for those of you watching the stream that enjoyed today, thank you guys for tuning in. It means a lot to me. I love doing this. I talk cars constantly. So to have the ability to interact and hang out with you guys is what makes me happy as a human being. So if you enjoyed today, be sure to follow us on Twitch. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram. We're MoneyShift _ on Instagram. I do nightly show every Tuesday at around this time. And then we do morning shows every other day except Sunday. So that's around the 7 to 8 a.m. Eastern time horizon. And it's just a catch up on the day's news. Okay. So keep doing this, says Colt. We definitely will. So if you guys miss a live stream on Tuesday night, you can hear it on a podcast the next day. So that podcast comes out and it's available everywhere. Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitch, like wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find the Money Shift podcast. So again, to repeat, we got a morning show every day but Tuesday and Sunday. And then we have a night show Tuesday night. So thank you guys for tuning in. I am Thanasi. This is Money Shift, and we will